On the question of what they've done to deserve the kind of abuse they get from the newspapers, do we know? Do you know?
In terms of the abuse they get from the newspapers will pick up on anything just for sales.
Yeah, but they haven't done that to Kate Middleton. So why have they done it to this pair?
I mean, they were quite ruthless with Kate Middleton.
They weren't quite ruthless. They poked a little bit of fun at her for not having a job, and they reported on the snobbery that she encounters in aristocratic circles because her mother was an air hostess. But they certainly didn't sort of doorstep her dad in the hope of getting him to say disgusting things about his own daughter. They didn't pay money to estranged family members from profoundly dysfunctional backgrounds. I mean, they went after Meghan Markle in a way that I can't actually think of. I'd compare it perhaps to Britney Spears or Lily Allen. It was just quite. So do we know what they did wrong in the first place?
It's like your best friend marrying somebody who's totally dominated him. And
where do you get this? So there we go. That's something I've read in newspapers written by ignorant people. Where are you getting your information from?
Newspapers. This is my own conclusion.
So what's it based on? The idea that she totally dominates him. How did you arrive at that conclusion? When did you arrive at that conclusion?
Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're discussing James O'Brien's recent radio exchange about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. A caller claimed Meghan dominates Harry, but O'Brien challenged this view, exposing the gender biases behind it. Let's dive into how societal perceptions shape our understanding of relationships. Let's go. In a recent episode of his popular radio show, James O'Brien found himself engaged in a heated exchange with a caller who claimed that Meghan Markle dominates Prince Harry. The conversation quickly became a focal point for listeners as O'Brien, known for his sharp wit and incisive questioning, skillfully unpacked the caller's assumptions. With his characteristic blend of patience and persistence, O'Brien guided the discussion to expose the underlying prejudices that often fuel such criticisms of the royal couple. As the debate unfolded, it became clear that O'Brien was not merely defending the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, but rather challenging the broader societal attitudes that lead to such judgments about their relationship dynamics. James O'Brien challenges caller's perception of royal dynamics. On a typical weekday morning, the airwaves of LBC radio crackle with the familiar voice of James O'Brien, a seasoned broadcaster known for his sharp wit and incisive commentary. As listeners tune in to his popular call-in show, they're greeted with O'Brien's trademark blend of intellect and irreverence, ready to tackle the hot topics of the day. It's against this backdrop that a caller's contentious remarks about Meghan Markle dominating Prince Harry ignite a fiery exchange. The comment, laden with undertones of gender stereotypes and royal scrutiny, immediately catches O'Brien's attention, setting the stage for a teachable moment that's about to unfold live on air. The royals, relationship dynamics, and public perception. A caller rang in, adamant in their belief that Meghan Markle dominates Prince Harry, painting a picture of a relationship where the Duchess of Sussex holds all the cards. With unwavering conviction, they asserted that Meghan is the puppet master, pulling the strings behind every move Harry makes. The caller's perspective was clear. In their eyes, Harry's actions and decisions are no longer his own, but rather carefully orchestrated by his wife. This view, dripping with certainty, suggested a complete erosion of Harry's agency, portraying him as a mere pawn in what they perceive as Meghan's grand scheme. James O'Brien's masterful takedown of callers' Meghan and Harry claims. O'Brien, clearly taken aback by the caller's brazen assertions, paused for a moment before launching into his response. "Hold on a second," he interjected, his voice a mixture of disbelief and curiosity. "Let's unpack what you're saying here." With the precision of a skilled interviewer, O'Brien began to dissect the caller's assumptions, asking pointed questions that exposed the flimsy foundation of their argument. "What evidence do you have that Meghan dominates Harry?" he probed, his tone challenging yet not confrontational. "And more importantly, why does their dynamic concern you so much?" O'Brien's questioning skillfully peeled back the layers of the caller's statement, inviting them, and the listeners, to critically examine the basis of such claims about the royal couple's relationship. James O'Brien dismantles caller's sexist take on Harry and Meghan. O'Brien, in his characteristically incisive manner, took the caller to task for peddling the tired narrative that Meghan somehow dominates Harry. With razor-sharp precision, he unpicked the sexist and misogynistic undertones lurking beneath the surface of such a perspective. "Let's examine what you're really saying here," O'Brien challenged, his voice a mix of exasperation and determination to educate. "Why is it that when a woman demonstrates strength or influence in a relationship, she's immediately branded as domineering? Would we be having this conversation if the roles were reversed?" He went on to dissect the caller's argument, exposing the deep-rooted prejudices that fuel such narratives, and questioning why society seems so uncomfortable with the idea of a strong, opinionated woman in a high-profile relationship. Meghan and Harry. A partnership of equals. O'Brien, with his characteristic blend of insight and empathy, reframed the caller's perspective on Meghan and Harry's relationship. He deftly steered the conversation away from outdated notions of dominance, instead emphasizing the importance of mutual respect and agency in a modern partnership. With a tone that was both firm and enlightening, O'Brien challenged the caller to consider how a truly healthy relationship allows both individuals to support and uplift each other, rather than one person exerting control over the other. He stressed that what some might perceive as domination could actually be a sign of a strong communicative bond, where both parties feel empowered to express themselves freely and make joint decisions. The double-edged sword of royal scrutiny. The criticism lobbed at Meghan and Harry reveals a troubling undercurrent of double standards and gendered expectations that plague public discourse. It's as if we're watching two different narratives unfold, one for him, another for her. While Harry's actions are often viewed through a lens of sympathy or understanding, Meghan faces a barrage of scrutiny that seems to magnify her every move. This disparity is particularly glaring when it comes to assertions of influence within their relationship. The notion that Meghan dominates Harry not only undermines his agency as an individual, but also plays into age-old stereotypes about strong women in partnerships. It's a classic case of damned if she does, damned if she doesn't. Assertive women are labelled domineering, while passive ones are deemed weak. This gendered criticism speaks volumes about our societal biases, revealing more about the critics than the couple they claim to judge. Meghan's voice, a defence against domination claims. O'Brien passionately championed Meghan's right to have a voice and make her own decisions, challenging the caller's misguided notion that her actions somehow equated to domination over Harry. With his trademark blend of logic and empathy, O'Brien dismantled the idea that a woman expressing herself or influencing decisions in a relationship was inherently problematic. He skillfully pointed out the double standard at play, suggesting that if the roles were reversed, Harry's actions would likely be seen as leadership rather than dominance. O'Brien's words served as a powerful reminder that in a healthy partnership, both individuals should have equal say and agency, free from outdated stereotypes about gender roles or power dynamics. James O'Brien challenges callers' view on Meghan and Harry's relationship. O'Brien, in his characteristically thoughtful manner, steers the conversation towards a more nuanced understanding of healthy relationships. He gently suggests that the caller might want to reconsider their assumptions about Meghan and Harry's dynamic. "Look," he says, leaning into the microphone, "a truly balanced relationship isn't about who dominates whom. It's about mutual respect, support, and allowing each partner to shine in their own right." He pauses, letting the words sink in before continuing. "Perhaps instead of seeing Meghan as domineering, we could consider that Harry might be choosing to step back and support his wife's voice. That's not weakness. That's strength in a partnership." O'Brien's tone is firm but kind, encouraging the caller, and by extension his listeners, to challenge their preconceptions and consider a more progressive view of relationships. Meghan and Harry. Challenging stereotypes and societal attitudes. When we examine the broader societal attitudes towards powerful women, it's clear that harmful stereotypes continue to persist. The notion that Meghan dominates Harry is a perfect example of how successful, outspoken women are often viewed with suspicion or hostility. It's high time we challenge these outdated perceptions and recognize that a strong, influential woman in a relationship doesn't automatically equate to domination or emasculation of her partner. By confronting these ingrained biases, we can pave the way for more balanced, equitable partnerships and a society that celebrates rather than demonizes powerful women. James O'Brien dismantles callers' misconceptions about Meghan and Harry. In wrapping up the call, O'Brien deftly summarised the key points he'd made in addressing the callers' comments about Meghan and Harry's relationship. He reiterated the importance of questioning our own assumptions and biases, particularly when it comes to public figures we don't know personally. O'Brien emphasised that critical thinking is essential in today's media landscape, where sensationalised headlines and unfounded rumours can easily shape our perceptions. He urged listeners to consider the source of their information and to be wary of narratives that seem to confirm pre-existing beliefs without substantial evidence. In his signature style, O'Brien left the audience with a thought-provoking challenge to approach news about the royals, and indeed all public figures, with a healthy dose of skepticism and a willingness to examine our own prejudices.